Oh my goodness, Najee, Kenny Pickett also, and he banks out. No, oh my, what's going on? Let's go, TD! What the hell was that? Let's go! Feed it! Yes! Yes! Let's go! Here we go, Steelers! Here we go! Alrighty, Steeler Nation. Well, I think I might need to turn that down. Was that a bit loud, Trey? Was that loud
not for me.
No? Okay, maybe I got my earphones up too high.
That
was me celebrating Najee Harris's touchdown versus the Ravens.
Oof.
And I've actually, it's funny, man. Welcome, Trey. Oh, sorry, guys. G'day. Welcome back to Steeler Nation Australia. And welcome, Trey. What's going on, mate? How are you?
Well, not too bad. Doing a lot better in the last 2 days, but we're back in the lab having a grand old time here today.
Yeah, mate. You're working hard. I was just going to say, though, I've watched a few of your live streams on Get Your Fix and on Minnesota Vikings Syndicate, and you are hilarious to watch.
I try to be. You
are hilarious. So, if you can, guys, welcome in Trai to the program. We will be talking about some Minnesota Vikings that have joined the Steelers. We're going to focus on Patrick Peterson. And I believe it was Braden Fehoko. He was a Viking too. Is that right?
I have no idea who that is, but
you don't know? Maybe it was the other guy. Maybe it's the other guy we got was Watts.
Armand Watts. Yep.
Was he a Viking? Is he the guy I'm thinking of?
Was. Yep.
Okay, well then scrap Fehoko because he might have been a Charger. So guys, welcome in Trai. He's from Minnesota Vikings Syndicate. I think we did a podcast maybe this time last year. Maybe we did.
Yeah, around this time, yeah.
Yeah, when you're on your other channel called Get Your Fix with the Wicks, which is this one here. If you guys want to check it out, do I have a link? Yes, I do. And okay. So yeah, we're gonna try and cover a few stuff to do with the Steelers with mainly Patrick Peterson. I want to find out about him if I can. But when I was watching your stuff last year, man, like I thought I was passionate about watching teams, but watching you like your team on the edge of victory or on defeat is
yeah.
It's I don't know.
It's dicey. It gets real dicey.
It's like I feel like you want to throw something, but you can't. That kind of feeling.
Oh yeah, no, I had that with was it the New York Giants, that playoff game. I literally had to mute the mic, get up real quick, just throw the ball at the ground. I mean,
you do the same thing as me. You hold a football in your hand. That keeps you kind of entertained, right? So you're not really swearing or whatnot, right?
Right.
Kind of distracts you a little bit. How look? I do want to forget. How did you guys went to the playoffs, right? And then what happened?
Yeah, well, we lost. It was
who'd you lose against?
We lost to the Giants 31-24. Nice. So I mean, we had a chance, but I mean, what was it? We had an opportunity the last drive of the game basically to march down and either tie it or take the lead, whatever the case was. And it was like 3rd or 4th and 8. 8 yards is what we need, right? Typical Minnesota Vikings fashion.
He's gonna go.
Throws it 3 yards down the field to a double covered TJ Hawkinson. I mean, what are we doing?
Let's be honest. You have to get rid of Kirk Cousins. Go and get someone else, mate. Go and get one of the new blokes in the draft. Surely trade up or something.
I just seen today Rick Sosa or something said like on his mock draft that the Vikings could trade up to number 3 with the Cardinals, take CJ Stroud or something. And I was like, oh, that wouldn't be bad. But
surely for the Vikings organization, Kirk Cousins is not the guy for the future.
No, he's the guy for now. For now,
he can win your games, but he just can't win the big one, can he?
No, he's in the clutch moments. He's not the greatest. Like I guess against the Giants, he wasn't terrible in the playoffs, but like when it comes down to crunch time and being like a clutch player, he's none of it. Like he gets scared. Like he's not even on the field. It seems like at times. But
yeah, and is he the one that too? The stats like he's almost 50-50, but he can't win in prime time either, can he? Is he that? It's the same quarterback, isn't it?
Yeah, like Monday, he's like on Monday night, I think he's like 1-13 or like 2-13.
Amazing how that happens.
Like I don't understand.
Maybe it's a team as well. Maybe it's just not just him as well. Maybe it's a bit of a psychological thing on the team. I don't know.
It could be, honestly. I mean, well, let's see. This past year, I guess the last couple years, our defense hasn't really been that great, obviously. So that could have played a massive factor. So when he has to like try to make a comeback victory or something, it's really hard to do so when your defense is letting up touchdown after touchdown. Yeah. So, I mean, that plays a role a little bit, but Got to be better,
I remember when I was watching the Vikings, we might have talked about this last time. I remember watching was Jared Allen. Was he the bloke?
Yeah.
He was a fun one to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was when I was like, holy dooly, that guy was just on the next level.
Just an
right?
animal.
Yeah. But let's talk a bit. Let's start with we'll start with Patrick Peterson and see where the conversation takes us. Because a lot of fans, Steelers fans at the start, were like, we lost Sutton and the world almost exploded, right?
Right.
A day later, the Steelers went and signed Patrick Peterson to a 2-year deal. Now, he was an Arizona Cardinal for, I think, like 7 years or something like that. And then he became like a Minnesota Viking. Run me through your process. And I know you've got a younger version of Patrick Peterson when he signed with you guys. But how are you feeling when Peterson signed with you guys for the 2-year contract?
Honestly, I was excited, genuinely excited, because we have a thing of drafting corners in the first round, at least the past, 6-7 years or something like that. And none of them are on a roster except for Andrew Booth Jr. now. I guess, what was he, second round, third round, whatever the case was. But when we signed him, I was like, okay, this gives us an opportunity to add that veteran to that cornerback room to maybe help these young guys stay on our roster instead of, we're going to have Trey Waynes. Now he's gone. Xavier Rhodes. Now he's gone. Jeff Gladney and all these people. So I was like, okay, this is going to help us out tremendously. Plus I knew when he was in Arizona, he was a dog, right? I mean, he interceptions left and right. He was a punt return. He's quick, great man-to-man. I was like, okay, this is going to help our defense a little bit, which it definitely did. I think it just helped take away the big plays necessarily, but put a lot of pressure on the younger guys to where like the quarterbacks were kind of like picking on him almost, where Patrick Peterson wasn't really seeing too much to his side of the field. But I was definitely excited just because he brought that leadership role and showed these young guys what it takes to be at least somewhat decent and good in this league and consistent. So I was excited about the signing. Hated to watch him leave, though, to be honest.
That was my follow-up question. So with all that being said, and we'll talk about his career and stuff like that with the Vikings in a minute, but what were your feelings around him leaving the Minnesota Vikings, and why did he leave? Well, I don't understand why he left.
It's a good question. I was pretty upset. Like, I thought there was going to be – I felt like there was an opportunity to bring him back to the squad, but I wanted him, like, 1 year – like, what'd you guys sign him for, 2 years, $7 million?
Yeah, something like that. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was around the ballpark of what I wanted to give him, was maybe like a 1 year, $3.5 million, $4 million contract just to run it back one more time. Cause he is getting up there in age, which I wasn't for sure if he wanted to play 2 more years or not. So that's why I said 1 year just to kind of help us out. But when he decided to sign with the Steelers, I was like, dang, now we're left with 5 corners. Well, excuse me, at that time, 4 corners on our active roster, which was a Caleb Evans, Tay Gowan, and 2 other guys that I'm like, who are we? What is this? And so that left us with 4. We signed, what's his name? Byron Murphy Jr., just signed Jawan Williams. Now we have 6 people on our cornerback roster. So it really sucked because now we don't have a veteran. Like Byron Murphy Jr., you can consider him a veteran, but he's only been in the league a couple years. But I at the same time, like, I'm happy for him to go to a defense that's been known. Like, what was it, the Steel Curtain? Like, I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has been tremendous for how long now? Like, it seems like every single year they're at least consistently in the top half of the league, if not even like, if not better.
Yeah,
so
there's a few problems, but definitely like overall they're a really good defense. But there's always a few problems, and what went down, not converting on third down, stuff like that. And then a few years ago, couldn't stop the run. But the funny thing was with the Steelers defense last year is they got 20 interceptions, but it didn't feel like that.
Really?
Because no, it didn't feel like that at all. It was the weirdest thing. Because I think too that Steelers didn't really capitalize on those interceptions with the offense that we had with Matt Canada being so boring and bland and only scoring 18 points a game. It just didn't really feel like that old school mentality of like, oh, we got the ball back now, we're going to run it down their throat and go win. It was really last year was a transitional year of like, if people wanted the rebuilding year, that was kind of it. And right now they're doing the same thing. They're retooling, re-identifying who they are. We've cut about 5 players or let go. We brought in like 11 new players, including Peterson, right? So the Steelers have that mentality of like, yeah, Blitzburg and that kind of stuff. But there's always, in different years, always been certain holes. They haven't really, in my opinion, they haven't really truly been Blitzburg since like 08 or 09, even 10 or 10 around that time, right? Around the time of like Troy and that kind of stuff. But in another sense too, When Shazier went down, they were building something special then. Shazier could have been a brilliant middle linebacker to build around this defense and really go after it.
Yeah.
But he went down. So the holes for us, and you talk about cornerback too. We've had a lot of holes in cornerback. They drafted Artie Burns up there. So that didn't work out. They haven't really gotten someone, and we might go on a draft talk later, but they haven't got someone at cornerback for a long time. So I'm happy to see Patrick Peterson. Some Steelers fans were like, "Oh no, he's too old." I don't care. He's only 32, and he had one of his best years last year. He got like 5 interceptions, right? So
yep.
I think he's going to be a good addition to the team, and maybe that could be his last 2 years. I got a question here for a bit of side talk from Ron Jeremy, whoever that guy is. He says, "How's the offseason going? How is your offseason going? What's been happening in a nutshell for the Vikings?"
I remember Ron Jeremy. What's going on?
Hey, good on Ron.
It's going okay. I mean, it's a typical Minnesota Vikings or a typical Minnesota sports offseason. We'll put it that way, because there's always moves that we need to make, but we never do. And the first one, it was a Josh Oliver tight end. Cool. He's a blocking guy. He's going to help TJ Hawkinson and the run game and stuff like that. I didn't understand that move because at the time I forgot we didn't have Irv Smith Jr. Like, I still thought he was under contract. So now I understand it now. But at the time I was like, what are we wasting our time with? We have 3 other ones back there. The signing of Marcus Davenport at defensive end was a pretty decent one, but that leaves a question mark for Zadarius Smith and what we might end up doing with him. Otherwise, the biggest signing that we made, I think, was Byron Murphy Jr., defensive back coming from Arizona. He plays the nickel. He literally plays everywhere a corner can play, which is nice for us because that's what Brian Flores wants, is versatility in his defenders.
That's right. You got Flores, haven't you?
Yes, we do.
Right. Yeah,
I'm pumped.
From the Steelers, man.
I think it's going to be exciting. Right. We need to make a couple more moves. We do. Today we signed a corner. We need one more signing of a corner. I want Marcus Peters super, super bad, just to, bring back that veteran in the locker room because we lost one, Patrick Peterson. But it's been okay. It's been okay. So basically it.
What are your thoughts on what role is Brian Flores going to have over there with you, bloke? I'm happy he's got a job because I still think what Miami did with him was stupid. He's a coach. He's a head coach.
Yeah,
he really is. So
100%.
And you know what's funny about that stuff too is that he was like trending to get better, he's getting better and better. And nothing against the new bloke is that I don't even know the new bloke's name, the guy with the glasses,
Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, McDaniel, what his name is. But he went really well at the start. Now he's going worse. It's like they're not going to fire him. So I know that he's taking them through the NFL, courts or whatever. And we won't talk about that stuff. But I hope he gets a job back because I thought he was doing great stuff. And he handled Lamar Jackson. That Flores defense against Lamar Jackson was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. Do you remember that game? Was Dolphins versus Ravens, and they blitzed like 75% of the time.
I vividly remember that. That was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, Javon Holland came down from the safety into the box and started rushing them. They were rushing middle linebackers. They were sending cornerbacks. Lamar Jackson didn't know who was coming every single time, but they were sending about 7 to 8 people sometimes at him, or mostly 7. Step back 3 or 4 would stay back. They had no idea. He couldn't do anything. Couldn't run. Couldn't pass. Couldn't do anything. And they won the game. It was a massive upset. And that was all Flores, right? So, yeah. What role do you think he plays for the Vikings? What role does he have?
Honestly, probably a very, very big role because Kevin O'Connell, he's a player's coach, right? He played in the NFL. He was a quarterback at one point, and he's a kind of a friendly guy. But from what I know, Brian Flores is a no-nonsense type of guy. Okay, you're going to get the job done whether you like it or not. You're going to do this, and you're going to do it my way or the highway. And I think every team kind of needs that, like a guy that's going to put a fire under you to just get going. Like he's going to bring that type of excitement to the defense to kind of kick it up a notch. Like it seems like this past year was a little bit better than the year before, and that year was a little bit better than the year before that. But I think with Flores, he's going to come in here, and I mean Ed Donatel was horrible, absolutely horrible for us. I don't understand what he was doing, no blitzing and stuff. But I think Brian's going to kind of test our defense, kind of test our players that we have at this point anyways, and the players that we're going to add, and kind of just stuff the box and see what works well. And like Danielle Hunter hopefully won't be dropping back in pass coverage anymore. We'll send more blitzes and stuff. Like you said, that Lamar Jackson or the Miami Dolphins versus the Baltimore Ravens game, he sent eight people to blitz at one point. Like last year, not a chance. We probably sent one other person, one linebacker to blitz. I think Flores coming in here is going to kind of revamp the defense. It's a similar defense, but make it tougher on the opposing offenses to kind of march down the field. So I think he plays a massive role in just bringing the energy and being aggressive at the point of attack. So yeah.
Well, we had him last year with the Steelers, and I think we had the wrong personnel in there. And I think that's a good opportunity for Flores to go to another team and try and exert that that leader in him and the coach in him too. Because his record, I looked it up, 24-25. That's not bad. It's not fireable. No idea why Miami said, "See you later, mate. We don't want you." He'll work his way. If it's I don't know if you have any coaching problems with your head coach, or is he the guy?
Yeah, he's definitely the guy. I love KOC.
So they're more or less that Flores is going to be there for like a year or two and then probably try and find a job, right?
That's kind of what I think, which sucks because like now we're going to have to find a new defensive coordinator and it's just a whole process. I hope he stays for like 2 years, but.
Oh, so he's your defensive coordinator now, is he?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But that's when the Steelers got Flores coming in, we kind of knew that too. We kind of we hope that he could be our defensive coordinator, but we still have Terrell Austin. We hope we can turn things around too. Of course, you're TJ Watt, right? But there's probably a thing, and I did hear like links of Flores going to the Cardinals, but they're like, mate, they are a shit show.
Yeah, no,
they're on fire.
No,
so
yeah.
They're going to get out of their own way with a few of their pieces. So he's probably done the right thing, gone to a stable organization with you guys, and build his name up again, and maybe go for a head coaching role next year, right? Because I just looked at his stats. You go.
Which is probably like his plan all along, is because our defense hasn't been great like at all the past couple of seasons. Like last year, there was glimpses of it. So if he can turn this defense completely around and make it something special to watch, and like a top 5 or even top 10 defense, even that would put him automatically in the conversation. Oh, he needs to be a head coach again. But at the same time, you got to worry about all the court stuff that he has to go through, which I believe is going to be coming up at some point this season. I read just the other week or something like that. So we'll see what comes of that. But yeah.
All right, now getting back to Patrick Peterson. So we found out the reason why he was kind of coming to the Vikings, and maybe why the reason that he left. Let's talk about what he did with the Vikings. What was his first year and second year like, and what was the big overall difference he made to the team? Was it like based on just leadership, or was his play too?
It was a little bit of everything. Like year one, I don't really like recall too much of it. I just remember our defense was horrible, so I try to forget that. But last season, it was a night and day difference, like of how like his preparation and just how he like performed and stuff. I mean, he's kind of like an under the radar player. You never really he's out there, but you're never looking for him on every play. You just know he's going to be guarding either the best receiver or the second best receiver, and he's going to do a really, really good job of it. But I think his man-to-man coverage last year picked up tremendously. He obviously had more interceptions than he did 2 years ago with 5. He was just a ball hawk. Like pass deflections, I think if I look at it correctly, I think there was outrageous amount of number. 15.
15.
Yeah,
that was last year, right? That's a lot.
Yeah. So like, I mean, he brings this like dog mentality. Like, I'm not going to let you throw the ball on me. Like, you're going to complete one every once in a while, but he just like, he attacks the ball. He's going to make it hard on you. Like against Buffalo, he secured the win for us, plain and simple.
I remember that one.
Right. But I mean, obviously the goal line stops there helped us a lot as well. But like his interception right there, I rewatched it a couple times. Josh Allen threw it right at him, like tried to fit it into a hole that wasn't there, and he picked it off. And it was just phenomenal. He had 2 interceptions that game. So I think when it comes down to clutch moments, he's the guy that you want to call on for your defense. And with Pittsburgh, I mean, you got TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick. You already have those guys. But you had another one in the mix. I mean, that's a very, very dangerous defense, especially when you have Minkah and Patrick on the back end of things, TJ to go get the quarterback. It's going to be interesting to see opposing quarterbacks try to handle that and try to deal with that and stuff. But, I think last year, like what I have attacks the ball, his leadership in the locker room. The one game I recall, Indianapolis Colts, right? Down 31-3 or 34-3. Terrible game.
Wait, you guys were down?
Oh yeah, biggest comeback in NFL history. Yeah, we were getting It was a bad game.
No, I remember that game.
You should have seen me.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. I was defeated. I was ready to just, shut the stream off. And then all of a sudden we started coming back.
I remember.
It was electric. But in halftime, he went down. I don't know if he was jokingly said this at halftime. He's like, hey, we only need 5 touchdowns. And we got 5 touchdowns. Like just the little things that he can go and just turn up the heat a little bit. And people might think he's joking, but he means business. He just wants to go out there, play ball, and he wants to win. Plain and simple.
How are you guys down by 31 to what?
I think 31-3 or 34-3.
Who was the quarterback for the Colts then? Do you remember?
Matt Ryan.
He's had it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. He had another blunder.
I think Jeff Saturday was their coach too.
Oh yeah. He was cursed with. How do you lose that game? He already lost the one against the Patriots. Right. I was actually there. I was there in Houston Texans for that one. I was in a bar in Houston, and we're watching it like 28-3. Game's over. Game's done. Yeah, just run the ball, and they stuffed up. There was one play where Matt Ryan ran back was like 17 yards and got sacked, and then they just got the momentum and came back to win. That is incredible that the Vikings came back from that.
We won because the Colts got complacent. Like I remember saying to like my chat at one point, I was like, they just keep running the ball. Like they're just 3 and out. They have got to put the gas, like they still have to put their pedal or the foot on the gas a little bit more. Otherwise we can come back in this. And that's exactly what happened. And hey, the rest is history. We'll take that dub any day.
So what do you guys, is that the biggest comeback of all time?
Yes, I believe so. 139-36.
You guys won 39-36. So you scored 14 in the third. They scored 3 and scored 22 in the fourth.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. So Patrick Peterson was a real part of that game, right?
Yeah, he had 4 total tackles and 1 pass deflection. So he didn't do much at all, honestly, but I think it's just like the little comments and just being the leader, like probably getting the guys pumped up, like, hey, like every moment's a big moment, cherish it, and like let's go out there and make the most of it kind of thing. And I think that's kind of what played that role, especially the halftime, because he's been there before, like down that much, probably not down that much, but he knows what it takes and like the good qualities of people that they have are good qualities of players. So yeah.
And I think fans sometimes forget that too, because as soon as we got the signing, not a lot of people, but maybe like 10% or 15% of people were like, "Oh, he's too old. Why we get Patrick Peterson?" But like, it's a future Hall of Famer, Patrick Peterson. Yes, we have to wait until training camp. Yes, got to wait until preseason and actual season for the game to start. And be like, "Oh, has he lost a step? Has he lost that?" But I believe in what his word and what he's saying, and he's saying he's ready to go. And I believe what he did last year was one of his best years in his career. Right, getting 5 interceptions and the 15 pass deflection. So I believe that he can do something with our Steelers. And they're not saying, well, he doesn't. He played more man, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, he's definitely a man-to-man covered corner.
Yeah, and we play a bit more zone in some cases too. So look, I think the instant reaction, people were a bit like unsure, but now he's a Steeler, so we've got to wait and see what happens. And we've got him for 2 years, and if it doesn't work out, they can always probably cut him. But I'm pretty hopeful to see what happens over the first year, because like you said, with our TJ Watt being healthy, Highsmith on the other side, the Steelers are really changing everything. They got 2 new middle linebackers and Holcomb and Landon Roberts there too, and they might even go and draft someone. Like, we've changed so many people because Devin Bush didn't tackle. Spillane was in there. He was okay, but he's gone. So he went to the Raiders, right? Terrell Edmonds signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, speaking of the Eagles, guys, we're going to take a quick break. I forgot. Take a quick break, and we're going to talk about Jalen Hurts for a little minute. So give me like 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
It's the Steelers. What isn't there about it? Studs everywhere. Man, I'll play punter if they want me to. Whatever coach tells me, I'll play. Man, I love football. I love to play the game of football. I'm ready to play football. And I'm happy to be here. Just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of this team. So I'm happy to be here. I love the game of football. I think it's art. I think it should be played a certain way. And that's why I love to play the game. I just love football.
Alrighty, Trai, are you happy to be here, mate?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you know who that is? You know who that is? You probably don't.
I was trying to figure it out. I'm happy to be here.
It's Nate Herbig. He was from the Jets, so he's one of our guards that we signed. I don't know if he's going to be starting, but he's maybe like a backup. But he's a guy, more of a depth piece, but he's just come in with come with a bit of fire. He came in one of his first press conferences that was his first press conference. Like someone's like, "Why did you want to come to the Steelers?" He's like, "It's the Steelers."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's the Steelers, and he just went on a big tangent. So. I think he's happy to be here about 9 times.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, it's a great soundbite. But I want to ask you about some other NFL news. We're going to cover some other things and maybe talk a bit about the draft too for your team too.
Yeah.
Where'd I put it? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Eagles and Jalen Hurts have agreed? Eagles and Jalen Hurts agreed to a 5-year, $255 million extension, including $180 million guaranteed per source. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, congratulations. That is fantastic. Absolutely. I knew it was coming. I mean, obviously, you lead your team to a Super Bowl, a young guy like that. It's hard to find franchise quarterbacks in this league. So when you do, you want to try to keep them around. Baltimore, figure it out.
I don't think they will.
I don't think they will either, especially, after this one, the contracts are only going to get up. Because he makes $51 million per year now.
Crazy.
I think what is it? They said something about, I can't remember off the tip of my tongue, but now what? Justin Herbert's going to have to get paid, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, they're all going to need money that's over $51 million. But I think this is fantastic for not only Jalen Hurts, but the Philadelphia Eagles, because Ian Rappaport was talking today on the Pat McAfee show or whatever, and basically said, this gives them wiggle room to kind of improve the team and make the team better in the future. And that's probably why they got this deal done as quickly as possible before Herbert, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, so that they have that wiggle room to add key players in the future, because their offensive line, the majority of them are going to retire in the next, year to 2 years. Yeah. Jason Kelce and all the guys will be gone. So they really need that cap space. So I think this is a phenomenal signing. But now we just got to wait and see what's going to happen with the other guys, I guess.
Yeah. To me, I look on this on 2 cents, and I was telling you in the green room, on 1 sense, on the NFL side, I'm like, it's crazy, fantastic. It's a deal that needs to be done. It's the biggest contract in NFL history. That's unbelievable. On the other sense, I'm like, man, there are people out there that can't even make $50. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes in this NFL fantasy land, and we cover it pretty much every day, but it's so much money. It's so much money. That's $250 million to go play football. I get everything to do with his career, business. I get it. Go and get it for sure. But I separate myself from the money sometimes because, obviously you and I probably aren't making that much money.
No.
Sorry, I can't speak for yourself. Can't speak for yourself, right? I can't speak for yourself, but there's just crazy problems in life and stuff like that. I just think that's so much money to give. But the quarterback is the way they're going to pay now. Like you said, they'll go and pay Burrow, they'll go and pay Herbert, they'll go and pay the next guy who's really good, right? And then when does it stop? It just never stops. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. And it feels like I don't know if you have that in the States, it's called a pissing competition. Who can piss the furthest?
Right. Yep.
So they pay him the money. They we have to pay the next guy. I just hope we don't have to pay Kenny Pickett that much money, but it all depends. And I think it does change the team too, because it changes what you can do with the team. And
absolutely,
and you got quarterbacks on the rookie contract, you can put money elsewhere. And if he's taking up more of the cap space, then we'll see what happens to the Eagles. Because a lot of times when they pay these guys, their teams kind of fizzle out and that doesn't really go anywhere.
Right.
But we'll see. But he's a good quarterback. So that is huge news. He's the highest NFL paid player, or $170 million guarantee. That's crazy. But we know too in the NFL, as this goes longer and longer, that these salary caps probably going to get bigger and bigger.
Right.
So maybe it won't mean too much. So, but you made an interesting point too about them paying Lamar Jackson. You think he's going to stay with the Ravens? I don't think he's going to stay. I get a feeling he's going to go. He's going to find another team to pay him money.
I have no idea. I think there's a really good opportunity that he goes somewhere else. But there's something that's telling me okay, Baltimore went out there and got him OBJ. And they were seen together in Miami. That doesn't mean anything, obviously, at a club. They're just doing their thing. They're probably boys. But just getting that weapon for him kind of tells you that the Ravens really want Lamar back. But it's okay, well, get a deal done. Is it because he doesn't have an agent that you don't want to work with him? Or is it because he wants too much money? Does he want that Deshaun Watson money, which he probably deserves? Okay, he probably deserves $230 million, $240 million, whatever the case may be. but it just tells me it's the same situation with Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns, right? They had multiple opportunities to sign Baker Mayfield to a contract extension, and every year they picked up his option or they franchise tagged him. I was like, okay, these guys aren't bought in on the fact that Baker Mayfield's their franchise guy. So something's telling me that Baltimore's like, Lamar Jackson might not be our franchise quarterback, which is like mind-blowing to me because, I mean, he's been to a playoff game. He's won a playoff game, Pro Bowl, MVP. Like, he's been there, done. Like, he's a franchise guy. You got to keep that around. You just have to build around him, give him weapons instead of allowing him to, do his own thing on the ground. But I would love to see him in the Colts. I would love to see him in Indianapolis or Atlanta.
The whole system or the offense is built around Lamar. The tight ends they use, the running game. Yes, they need to get more involved in the passing game, but as Big Ben alluded to his comments this week, and I've talked about it a lot, saying teams play Lamar Jackson different. They bring safeties down the box and they force him to run and they want him to throw, right? Which then gives him an easier opportunity to find his targets. But the whole offense around the Ravens, I think the Ravens are in a bit of turmoil right now. If I were the Ravens organization, I'd pay the man because he's a good quarterback. The Steelers have actually figured Lamar out and they figured out the Ravens out. I think we've won 5 out of 6 in the last 6 meetings. Wow. And that hasn't – we normally, split them every year. So until Trubisky stuffed up and threw 3 picks, we would have had, I think, 5 games in a row, right? Would have had 5 games in a row. So we've won 5 out of 6. He came in there when Kenny was injured, going down the field, ready to score, and then throws a pick. Going down the midway, throws a pick. He threw 3 in a row, and I was like, man, Trubisky, there's no way he's going to become a quarterback. He's number 2. But what I'm saying is, like, the Steelers have figured out how to play the Ravens. They always play each other tough. It's always physical. But we've been getting upper hand the last few times. I actually believe, if the Ravens don't sign Lamar Jackson, I think they'll be 4th in our division. I think the Bengals will be 1st. I think the Steelers will be 2nd. I think Browns will be 3rd, and I think the Ravens will be 4th. I think they're starting to crumble. I don't think they've made enough a few pieces on their offense or defense. I don't think if you got to sort the quarterback situation out. You can't go into the league this year without one. We saw what happened with us with the Steelers. We made an error. We started Trubisky. We didn't go with Kenny. We probably, in my opinion, should have started Mason Rudolph and then transitioned from Rudolph into Kenny. That's what I would have wanted to see because Rudolph never got a shot. Was no point having him there at all because he sat on the bench. But now Kenny's our guy. But the Ravens have a big problem because they're trying to figure out should they pay Lamar Jackson the money. They got to come to a resolution, or do they trade him away, or whatever happens.
Right.
I don't even know if they can trade him away, but whatever happens, do they get someone else to go and start? But if it's not going to be Huntley to be their quarterback, do they go to the draft? Right. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think you'd have if Baltimore, because right now I think how it goes is a team can offer a contract sheet to Lamar, and if he wants to sign that, the Baltimore Ravens can either match it or just say nope, you can have Lamar, and then they get 2 first-round picks and stuff. But the only way I think Baltimore doesn't match it is if it's a top 4 pick, a top 5 pick, maybe top 4 pick, just because then they won't have a quarterback. They have to draft a quarterback at that point. So if it's the Colts, the Texans, the Cardinals, whatever the pick, those picks, then I think they wouldn't sign that sheet and they would just let Lamar walk and then get one of those younger guys and try to redo it again. But just like John said, he's staying for at least this year. I could see it, but that relationship, it's really weird between him and Baltimore, I feel and especially I don't know. It just doesn't seem like Baltimore's bought in on Lamar Jackson.
No, it doesn't. There seems to be a very a disconnect there. Maybe you do need an agent. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like this deal would have been done by now because Ravens fans. I don't know. Ravens fans, some want Lamar back, some don't. I know some Ravens fans that will follow Lamar Jackson for his career, not the Ravens. They'll check out. They won't be a Ravens fan anymore. I've seen it in the comments. I've seen the comments of Ravens guys' videos where wherever Lamar goes, I'll go. So they know he's a fantastic football player. And he is. He's a good football player. He's great. He's won 46, I think lost 15, but he's won 3 of the playoffs. And from a Steelers perspective, we're not overly too worried about if Lamar stays because we know how the Steelers play him. They play him really well. He's fumbled so many times in the red zone, a lot of picks. I think it was like 5, 6 picks against us, something like that. He's only won one game, and he's only played us twice. He only started twice against us. Twice. He has 5 games. He's 2-3, but he's only started twice in like 7 years or something like that. G'day, Yuli. What's going on? But let's transition to the last part of the show. Let's talk about some draft stuff. What are your thoughts on the overall draft? You been going down the speculation road a lot?
A little bit, like not a whole lot. I did a lot last year, but this year I'm kind of just letting the dominoes fall in place, kind of thing. And I'm looking at what do we need and what would make the most sense. Like I've seen these rumors, like potentially taking a quarterback or potentially, trading up in the draft to take a quarterback or even a top tier corner or something like that. But I haven't really looked too far into it. Like there's a couple, this cornerback class, I should say, is pretty deep, just as the wide receiver class is sort of. There's a couple good guys, but not a lot. But as for the Vikings, look, we need a corner. We need a top tier corner. Amani Banks, there's a couple like Christian Gonzalez. He's going to go in the top 5, maybe top 10, stuff like that. But if we don't get a corner, I don't know. It's gonna be rough, tough stuff going forward.
So where do you pick? Where do you pick in the first round?
I believe it's 24 or 23. I don't know. I keep.
Okay, 23. I just found it. 23.
Okay. Yeah. So
well,
23.
You went 13-4 last year. Holy dooly.
Yes, we did. We lost round 1.
Ah, man. That's crazy. So you're picking 23rd, right? 23rd. So what's the idea? The idea is that you're thinking cornerback as well.
Absolutely. Have to. If we're going to stick with the 23rd overall pick, we take the best available corner that is on the board. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want a wide receiver at that point unless you think we can somehow get a second round pick, because we don't have a second round pick. So if we can get a second round pick, but keep that first round and take a wide receiver or even take a quarterback, say Hendon Hooker at 23 or Will Levis, then sure, you take the corner in a second. But I think we have to go that route. We just have to.
So you won't, the Vikings won't go defensive line, offensive line, nothing like that?
There's a chance we go offensive line, but I think we save that for round 3 for some reason, just because Ed Ingram, our right guard, who was the guy who really struggled last year, he was a rookie. So, I mean, that definitely going to struggle at points in that season. So I think we're going to give him another year, another shot. Plus we have a really young offensive line, Brian O'Neill, Ezra Cleveland, Garrett Bradbury still. I mean, last year, the talk of the town was he was bad, but all of a sudden he ended up, being pretty solid for us throughout the season. So I don't see us going offense or defensive line unless it's in like the third. Definitely not defensive line. Definitely not that. I could see Dalvin Cook and Zadarius Smith getting traded though draft day.
Yeah, right. So we got one of your mates here from the Minnesota Vikings in your channel too. Formerly a real Mr. Unholy says Pat P will be a big impact for Steeler Nation. He's a legend. So I agree with that. So it's crazy, right? You're going cornerback because we kind of need to go cornerback too. We have, I think in my mind and in all Steeler fans' mind, it's like I think offensive line's up there, cornerback is up there for sure, and probably defensive line, maybe D tackle, that's up there too. We have like those, or even linebacker too as well. But it depends where. Like I'm actually like I'm gonna make a video today actually. I'm kind of over the rumor stuff. We got like 7 days to go, and I feel like a lot of these channels is putting out rumor. Like we get it, mate. In the articles, there's some bloke named Peter King over there in America thinks that the Steelers are going to trade up to get is it Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle?
Jalen Carter. Yep.
Right. It's just like, okay, grab name, insert that need for position, and trade up. And that's your 3. It's like it's like the old days. Have you ever seen the episode of South Park when they figure out how Family Guy writes their jokes? You've ever seen that one?
I think I have. It's been a while.
They said they would put in 5 different scenarios. They would make like, the SEALs pick out balls and then it'll be 5 different themes.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm trying to say? Like it'd be like, okay, red balloon, clown, sister, tree, and then they put it all into a joke machine and make a joke. That's what they're doing with the rumor stuff now. So whoever this bloke Peter King is, they make it sound like it's going to be the Steelers have interest in it, but the Steelers, a lot like the Vikings, they have interest in everyone.
Absolutely.
Everyone. Like they're going to everyone's pro days. You know what I mean?
I
Oh,
think
good
it's
as
because
you
it's a
went.
dead period right now. So
Yeah.
that's why these rumors are coming out. They're like, hey, by the way, you guys are interested in so and so. So
Well,
just
they
take a look
reckon
at it.
so. This one bloke said they're going to trade up to the Steelers want to trade up, and then I think the language is a kind of a key element too. Steelers want to trade up. Well, in your mind, they might want to trade up, but there's no official idea that Tomlin or Omar Khan or Andy Wilder have talked about that. Yes, they've talked about the possibilities.
Right.
I saw was it one of the coaches or Jim Irsay from the Colts? Did you see that Twitter the other day where he talks about getting a quarterback or not?
No, but I did hear his press conference about with their GM. What's his name?
Is it the GM?
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but they were like talking about like the top quarterbacks in this draft. He's like, someone said like, yeah, I like that Bryce. Jim Irsay's like, I like Bryce Young. He seems like a guy that could play in the NFL. And their GM Chris Ballard was like, yeah, but we could also get more picks if we trade back and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think either the owner or the coach or someone like that. Or I'm doing this tweet not justice, but it was like the tweet was like, we could go quarterback, we might not go quarterback. At the same time, we could trade up, we might not trade up. It's like
we could do a little bit of everything.
We could do everything. So yeah, I do think the rumors are, and like Jeddah was here, Peter King has been the closest thing to being spot in the recent drafts. Fair enough with most teams, but I'd still take his opinion with a grain of salt. Definitely. Right. So. I don't know if the Steelers are going to trade up. Like if they do, it happens. We'll go through that process. I actually feel like the Steelers, we have 17, 32, and 49. I feel like they're going to stay at the same point. And whatever best player falls to them in the rankings and roles they need for D tackle or cornerback, whoever's there, like you guys too at cornerback, they'll probably choose that player. So the rumors, man, are going crazy because now everyone's talking about Jalen Carter to the Steelers.
Now, say if you were to trade up, like. What would you have to give up, and like where would you want to be? Like if you guys did trade up, what pick would you want, and like what would it take you think to kind of get there, and who would you take at that selection?
That's a good question. So I've been reading some other articles too, looking at some other highlights. I think the one that Steelers, if they would do or should do, is probably get that guy Christian Gonzalez.
Yep.
The cornerback is like 6'2", really speedy. He would be a definite need. And I think Steeler Nation would love that. I think if we trade up to get him at like 8 or 9 or whatever, that may happen. Because there was links to the Steelers were in trade talks or talks with the Bears. But in reality, and yeah, Yui backs it up too. Backs it up. Look like a stack. Like Gonzalez would be the guy, right?
Yep.
In reality, all these teams are talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? Just things leak out. Steelers are talking to the Raiders. Steelers are talking to the Bengals. They're talking to everyone. So that's what they're paid to do. But that would be something where if the Steelers trade up and they're at pick 9 or 10 and he's still on the board, that's probably the pick, I would say. I think that would be for Steeler Nation. That would be like, yes, let's go. They try to get someone else, and then someone else falls there, or Jalen Carter falls there. Then Steelers be like, oh, why didn't you get that guy? So I think that might be the unanimous decision in that way.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think a lot of this stuff now with like 10 days to go. There is some truth to some of these rumors, but I think where the rumor starts is. It's that person writing the article and saying the Steelers should get that. And the more it goes around the washing machine, right, it turns into, Steelers want that. And it looks like they're actually talking from their perspective.
Game of telephone.
Yep. So, I got fooled last year, mate. Malik Willis had wings and Tom, and I'm like, that's our quarterback.
Yep. We got him. Sign him now.
We had a question here too. If you guys have any questions for Trai, put them in the chat. A-Rule says, for Mark, who's going to be a current QB for the 20? For us? Oh, it's Kenny Pickett. It's Kenny Pickett. There is no way, like, I'm telling you right now, and there's no way that Trubisky's starting. Like I said before, if I see one publication in the media or channel, Chat Sports, you losers, anyone like that, say that if they're having Trubisky and Pickett in a quarterback competition, they're lying to you. It's Kenny Pickett's team. It is. There's no competition. There is, hey, Trubisky, by the way, you're now number 2. Okay, you don't get reps of the first plays, you get reps of the second. You're here to back up and support Kenny Pickett if he goes down. You're here to mentor him as best you can. You're here to say, Kenny Pickett, don't do what I did in Baltimore and throw 3 picks with the game on the line and lose the game. It's true. Jada backs it up. Steeler fans know, real Steeler fans know, there is no quarterback controversy this year. There just can't be. This can't be. So
Nope.
I know yourself. You're a Viking fan, and A Rules is a Viking fan, right? There just isn't. There is nothing. So if you hear anything of like steelcurtain.com or steelnation.com or whoever writing these articles, they're lying to you. It's Kenny Pickett's team right now. Kenny Pickett's been going down to Florida, throwing the football around. He's been working out with other college guys. He's been in the meeting room. He turned up today in the first official day within Steelers, like for warm-ups and, just the first day of preschool or high school, right? Just get to the building. He's just there. So anything else, it's crap.
Yeah, no, I especially if there was going to be a quarterback controversy, you would have seen it last season because once they went with Kenny Pickett, they stuck with Kenny Pickett. And from that point on, you knew right then and there who the starting quarterback's going to be. And
there was too. There was for like the first, the off season was like, who's going to start? Who's going to start?
Right.
And I picked Trubisky to start. He played awful the 4 games. And then Kenny came in and got smashed like the first few games. That's why his interception was so high. He threw the football to Claypool. He couldn't catch. Then we ended up trading Claypool after the bye. And then ever since we traded Claypool, we won our game 6-2. He lost 0-8. So you would have loved him at the Bears.
Yep, absolutely. Fantastic signing.
Did you remember watching him play?
No, I'm gonna be honest. Probably not. It was the last week. Yeah, we played him the last week of the season. He wasn't. No, him and N'Keal Harry. Like, why did the Bears get him and N'Keal Harry? My grandma can run faster than N'Keal Harry. I mean, what are we doing? And then Chase Claypool he couldn't catch. I don't know. He couldn't catch a boulder if it was the size of a house if it came right to him. Like, there's no chance.
Right.
He just missed it. But good for the Bears. I mean, they're trying to get better. We'll see.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because when I was around there, and I've been noted a few times, and this is like me saying it over and over, but I love it because Claypool, I loved him in the first year. Great, right? Last 2 years, terrible. That Vikings game against you guys, we gave you the game.
Yeah, with his celebration.
How were you feeling in that moment? I was pissed.
I was at the game. I was like, come on.
That game?
Yeah, I was there. I was like, waste that time. Come on, tick, tick, tick.
My goodness.
Yeah,
Claypool gave you that game. He wasted 30 seconds.
It was bad too, because at halftime I went to the bathroom and then everyone's like, "Oh, we got this." I'm like, "Hey, easy." I'm like, "It's the Vikings, okay? We're probably gonna blow this." Sure enough, y'all came right back, and there was that Claypool boneheadedness, That
he wasted, I think, 30 seconds, and then Trai Turner, our right guard at the time, yelled at him,
grabbed him,
and as he did that, Claypool didn't go, "Okay, my bad." Then he started an argument with Trai Turner, wasting more seconds.
He knocked the ball out of his hand too, or something.
Yeah, we lost the game. Yeah, Trai Turner was trying to be the veteran guy and say, "Don't be an idiot, get up, go play."
Yeah,
because you already wasted 14 seconds doing the arrow point first down with like tick, 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 and then Claypool argued with Trai, and then he argued again after the game. I was like,
dumb.
Trai Turner's not the best human either. He's one bloke who's spat in someone's face. He's no longer there. But at the same time, Claypool, I'm so happy he's done. And I think we both win now because we got the 32nd pick. You guys have the Bears. A lot of Bears fans were like, "Oh my goodness, he's going to be awesome." And they're sitting on the edge going, "I hope he's good," but he's not that great, mate. No. He's not. So
there's a chance, but I don't think so.
No, if you're versing him next year, whoever you get at corner should be able to lock him down. He's got like one route. He's got a go route. He can't jump. Like, he jumps and he can't high point the ball. It's just not going to happen with him. So
no.
Claypool is top TikTok. He's top 3 TikTok boy.
Absolutely.
He's just too prancy, mate. So, but I'm pissed off. I'm so happy you were at that game. That's crazy.
Oh, it was kind of cool. I didn't even expect to go to that game. Thursday night primetime football. It's kind of cool because like that year I got to see Aaron Rodgers too. Got to see him, and so basically, and then I got to see Tom Brady this year, which was fantastic. But yeah, that was a cool game. I don't think I've witnessed a Steelers Vikings game like in person. If I have, I've totally forgot about it. But it was so cool, man. I absolutely loved it. Love every game though.
If we get back, if Claypool doesn't do that, we have like 40 seconds. Like on the clock, maybe 2 plays, right? Because he wasted so much time. There would have been a chance. I think we're around the 30 or 40 yard mark, and then everything was wasted from there.
Yeah, you were really close to the half yard or like the half field, or whatever.
That's Big Ben's ammo is going down right into the end and trying to win the game. So
yep.
I guess we both win.
Absolutely, that's okay with me.
A Rule says, when's the next stream for Trai? When's your next go?
We will see. Like I said, I was a little under the weather the past few days, so I didn't do my XFL streams. For sure, this upcoming weekend, I'll probably do one on Sunday. But as for the live football stuff, it depends on how my schedule is kind of working out and if there's enough information. Like, I was only going live for those days because there was so much information that I didn't want to pump out a video. So I was like, I'm going to go live for an hour and just talk about it all, kind of get it out. But I will be live during the whole season, basically. So, yeah.
You mean the Fred and stuff? It was crazy, right?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely bonkers. I don't remember it being that busy. Like, it was crazy.
J-Double says here, I've seen Bears fans say we didn't know how to use Claypool and develop Claypool. That's wrong. He was good the first year, but that was because the offense was good with Big Ben, and that the 11-0 start was fantastic. But I think ever since he said losing never hurt of her, his ego was too high. He called himself Mabeltron, made his own brand. Just not a fan of him. I don't know, but I think he has a career over there. Like, if they sign him for a 3-year deal or 2-year deal or something like that, the Vikings should have easy W's, because I don't know what the Bears are even doing either. They seem like a team that's a very lost cause as well. They're trying to get better, but they've really lost their identity, have they? Since like the old days of Urlacher, they haven't the name anymore.
A little bit. I mean, they had a really, really big offseason with like their defensive pieces, like what was it? TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds. Like, they got a good couple big names, but I don't think it's anything like substantial. Like, they obviously had to trade away that number 1 overall pick because they're not going to take a quarterback. They have Justin Fields. So if they get Jalen Carter or like another defensive piece, they should be fine. But I guess they did get DJ Moore this offseason too. So that's a big pickup for their wide receiver room. That might help a little bit. Running back wise, I'm not really sure who they have, because David Montgomery is now a Detroit Lion. So they have Tariq Cohen. I don't even think he's on there.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
they're not saying that. They're not saying Bears that we first, when Jerome Bettis ran over Urlacher in those days, right? The days I was watching the Bears too. Like, they were fantastic back then. Got another question here from A-Rule says, what are your thoughts on my opinion is going to be completely different to yours, I think. What are your thoughts on OBJ for the Ravens?
I don't know. I like it, but I don't like it. Like, their report card that they finally did this year, like for the Ravens, was horrible, right? And OBJ has had knee injury after knee injury. Now, granted, his first ACL tear, they didn't fix it properly, so they had to fix that one and his torn ACL that he took in the Super Bowl with, like, in LA or whatever. So they had to fix both of them at that point. So, like, if I'm OBJ, I'm looking at who has the best medical facilities. Minnesota would have came here, but that's for another conversation. Or like just another organization that's willing to, I don't know, buy in. Plus, like, why would you sign there not knowing if Lamar Jackson's going to be your quarterback or not? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me, especially when he did have a physical scheduled with the Jets on like Monday or something like that. And then bam, on Sunday, he gets signed to the Baltimore Ravens. That means like Baltimore wanted to pay him a lot of money. They actually, I think, offered him the most amount of money of any other team, which is kind of weird because Baltimore wants to pay him and give Lamar weapons, but they don't want to pay their franchise guy, you know? So like, it's a good signing for Baltimore. I'm not sure it's a good signing for OBJ.
He won't do anything for us. It's good for us. This is why. Career stats. I did a video the other day, right? This is versus Steelers from OBJ. Now, I know look, let me premise the fact. Where am I? He's a good receiver, but I'm over the one-hand catch. I've seen it a million times. I don't care anymore. I'm actually glad someone signed him. Did he play last year? He didn't play last year, did he?
No.
It was like, no. And how many, you know, the rumor talk, it was like every week. It was like, where will we sign? I'm happy he's got a team now because no one can talk about it. But his career against the Steelers, he has, I think, 220 yards. And every year it got worse. So in 2016, the Giants threw 100 yards. Cleveland, when it went to Cleveland, was 60, 29, 25, and then 6. He's never scored a touchdown. It's not going to bother us. No. It won't. I actually think the OBJ, the Ravens don't play that way. They won't play down the field with him. I think he gets less than 800 yards, or maybe even less than that, maybe 700, and maybe like 4 or 5 touchdowns, maybe. I don't think he'll be that big of a factor than people think he is. Yes, he was good with the Rams before he got injured, and yes, he was like having a game on Super Bowl day before he went down. but I don't think he's going to be that big of a factor, right? I just don't, because the Ravens, they don't play that way. They play with their tight ends, they play with their running backs, they play with all that kind of stuff. They play action. They don't really try and find a receiver all the way down. The Ravens stuffed up too. They got rid of, or they didn't pay Hollywood Brown. They had a receiver.
Yeah.
They had Hollywood Brown. They let him go. They let him go to Arizona or whatever, or traded him away or whatever happened there. So I don't know. It's not. Still, fans were like, okay, have him. It's fine.
And it's all going to depend on who the quarterback is, on how well he performs this season. Honestly, like that's how it's going to come down.
Randy says the only time OBJ would have scared me is if the Steelers signed him. Facts.
There you go.
Yeah. So
that would have been interesting.
He said, there was some rumors about that too. He's had a great career. You know, he's a good player for sure. But I think the Steelers can handle him. And I think Patrick Peterson might be able to lock him down. I think other players can too. And I think in Baltimore as well, we don't know the quarterback to throw to him. Now, if Lamar Jackson goes back there, fair enough. All right, guys, but let's start to wrap it up. You got any final thoughts on what are you excited about most? Trade coming up in the next few weeks. Got the draft coming up.
Obviously the draft. I'm pretty excited about that. I just want to see the Vikings going to take the first round. I want to see who goes like number 1 and number 2 between the quarterbacks. I'm kind of I guess let's see. I'm excited just basically to see about Aaron Rodgers, if the Jets deal actually gets done, or does he find his way to San Francisco? I want to see if Lamar Jackson's going to get signed or if he's going to be gone. I think draft night is going to be a big night for not only like obviously the draftees and stuff, but like trades. I think there's going to be a lot of trades this draft. Like last year we had AJ Brown and stuff. That's what I'm most like pumped up for. Like this speculation, like, oh, is Aaron Rodgers actually going to go somewhere else, or is Lamar Jackson going to get traded draft night? Is Dalvin Cook, Zadarius Smith going to get traded that draft night? All these guys, like DeAndre Hopkins, could get traded draft night. Like draft night is what I'm waiting for. That's probably what I'm most excited for, honestly.
You think that so a lot of stuff happens on draft night with the big plays, and maybe teams are waiting for that to use that kind of stuff, right?
Yes. Because I mean, like if it happened, they would have done it either last week or they'll do it this week. And if nothing happens, honestly, next Thursday night, tune in. It's going to be a wild night.
Yeah, I'm kind of like the whole Aaron Rodgers stuff. I know you can't. You're not a big fan of him because of the division, but
I don't mind him.
You don't mind him, really?
I think I've grown to like him. Like not really like him, but like I used to hate him until I watched him on the Pat McAfee show, and I've just got a closer look at the person he is. Like he doesn't bother me. Like I understand his side of the story now, but obviously, if it's Packers Vikings, I want to take him out. Okay, just
I tell you what though, if I was a Packer fan, I would honestly be like, are you gonna play for us or not? Like I want to know. Like I think with the fans and the fan base of Packer Nation or whatever they call themselves. They don't know who their quarterback is every year for the last like 3 years. He's going to stay, he's going to go, who's going to be. So I would say it was a bit like Big Ben near the end too. Big Ben was near the we kind of thought it was going to happen the last 2 years. When's he going to retire? But Big Ben didn't really lead on too much. Aaron Rodgers leads it on every year, every single year. Wait. Yeah. Okay. One last question from Darkson. Lions might actually be the best team in the division next year. What are your thoughts about that?
Nah.
No,
it's the Vikings. It's the Vikings division until we say otherwise. Okay. But no, Detroit's a really good team. And I like what they're building over there. I think they're going to be very, very good in the next at least 3-5 years. They're still going to be contenders, I think, for at least playoff contenders. They'll put up a good fight for the division this year, but it ain't going to happen when we got Justin Jefferson there. And if we do end up getting a stud quarterback, like if somehow we land Lamar Jackson draft night, I mean, I'd be okay with that, to tell you. But no, I think they have a good chance. They have a good chance, but it's the Vikes until we say otherwise.
Yeah, but I reckon too, like I think you've got your team up there, Vikings are up there, Lions are coming up there too. Bears on the down low, and I think if no Rodgers in Green Bay, they're kind of like, average too.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's end it there. Thank you everyone for coming in. We had A-Rule, J-Devil, John. Who else we have in here? Randy. Had a few people in here too. Good fun, man. I think we talked about pretty much everything going on in the league. So from Patrick Peterson to the draft night, it's really fun. It was awesome stuff. So yeah, if you want to check out Trai's channel for a bit more NFL, you do NFL coverage. I think I did a link here again. Get your fix with the Wicks, right? You go hard in the paint, going over there. That does pretty much cover everything in NFL, right?
Yep, everything NFL related. Everything.
Yeah. Yuli says, "Is that Japanese?" I don't.
Beats me.
I don't. What's going on, Yuli, mate? I used to do Japanese too. Good. That might be a good buy. All right, guys. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, Trai, for coming on, man. Stick around for a little minute.
Absolutely.
And for everyone else, as always, here we go, Steelers. Here we go.
Hey guys, your boy Stink here with a public.
Wrong one.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Steelers, here we go. Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. Here we go.